Welcome back to the LEC studio for our match of the week, G2 Esports versus Misfits Gaming. Get ready to watch some of the biggest stars in EU clash on the Rift as the undefeated G2 look to close out their first round robin 9-0. I'm joined by Frostgurn, of course, but we've also added Andrew Vedius Day to the mix.
Chaps.
You'll note the difference between him and Sheffius is the crazy hair and the Welsh apron.
And the accent, true.
Oh, and the accent.
Because I don't speak Welsh. It's all been a lie. No, but it's cool to be here. I'm excited for our match of the week, G2 versus Misfits. I think it should still be a good one. Many expectations are like, but Misfits is like really bad in the standings right now. They're not that good of a team. It's just like, I actually think they're a really good team. And I was really annoyed watching back their game versus Spice, because I was like, what are you doing? You have so many good things. You do so many things well. And then like one player does something really dumb and then they throw the whole game. So I'm just hoping that if they can just correct some of that individual mistakes, they can be a really strong team that can challenge the top teams in Europe. But right now, the individual mistakes just plague them, and it's something different every single week.
I mean, I think it's fair to say that at least the first 15 minutes of this game should be action-packed.
Hopefully, yeah.
Post 15 minutes with Misfits, I don't know how far I'm going to go. And post 15 minutes against G2, I don't know if that really exists.
That's true.
For the first 15 minutes, just cut the tape. It'll probably look great.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And I'm curious as to what G2 have prepared as well, because, you know, we saw Fnatic kind of return to form a little bit today with the introduction of carries being more about crit. We've seen some Corkies join the meta. What will G2 do? Will we see them on crit 80 carries? Will we see them come up with something completely new and crazy once again?
I do want to see if they're willing to take the skill check, because we heard on PGL last week, Perks and Caps, we're talking about, or Perks and Mickey actually in this case, we're talking about you ban Lucian, you ban Draven, we win the bot lane. It's not a problem. I want to see if they're confident enough this week to leave those champions open and to say, Hansama Draven, you know, like, we've seen better. I don't know if they're going to go for it, but if they do and they win anyway, that is a confidence destroyer.
I mean, I don't think G2 need to give free tools or free firepower over to Misfits corner. The fact of the matter is that if you are confident enough to think that you can beat Misfits in draft before you even step onto the Rift because you can ban Lucian Draven, just slap them with that.
Yep. I know that we've been seeing some Kai'Sa and Kalista coming out from Hansama as well. But again, like crit 80 carries, it's something that I think he is more than capable of playing. But we already saw some Morgana Caitlyn today. I do feel it's something that could fit into his wheelhouse. I just also think that Jinx is a champion that Hansama can really find success on and thrive on. But the question is, will they even try to do it? Is that the kind of style that they're looking for? I'm really fascinated to see how the meta has shifted both these teams' perspectives on how to approach the game.
And who I want to put a magnifying glass isn't necessarily Hansama. I know that we're going to be talking about the bot lanes a lot, but for me, it's actually Gorilla. He's been underperforming into the expectations that we've had of such a prestigious LCK. I love them. Prestigious LCK support player.
And I think this is one of the terrifying things about going up against G2. Like, every team that goes up against them, they're like, this is the day we face G2. And G2 come in and they're like, it's Friday. just another day of the week for G2. Another day at the office. They're having a good time. Perks is saying something. I can't tell what.
They're just happy to be here. They're having some fun, playing League of Legends. I wonder if that changes when they lose. If they lose.
When they lose. Confidence coming in from a man who predicted G2.
I didn't say they were going to lose today. But to come back to your point, Frosk, I like that you brought it up, because the thing about Gorilla is, again, expectations were actually really high coming into the split. Many people expected him to be the best support in Europe. Many forego Mickey, which like upset me a lot, because I've always considered Mickey to be really, really strong. But the fact that Gorilla right now is not kind of competing to the level that many expect him to is definitely something that I think we'll keep our eyes on as the split progresses.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Mickey, because I agree with you. He's had his flashy moments, but it's just so hard to stand out on that G2 roster when everyone is solo killing everyone. Of course, the support player is going to get the least amount of love.
Maybe he gets a Pyke game. Maybe he gets his time
We don't
to
want
shine in
that.
the sun.
Wait, you telling me you don't want Mickey's Pyke to
I
be
love certain aspects of
Hold
Mickey's
on.
Pyke.
Last time Mickey played Pyke, he hit every E and Q, every Bones Q, every Phantom Undertow, but he could not hit an ult to save his life, and that's
my favorite
not
thing
where
was
you
I
want to be.
watched that far back, and the number of times he bone skewered enemies into his own teammates, and I tweeted about it. He goes, "It is not my fault that my teammates position suboptimally."
That's the kind of confidence you want, especially going up against a team like Misfits, and especially going up against that Misfits bot lane. And as we get into picks and bans, eyes are on that bot lane, no doubt, to see what gets taken away, what gets prioritized by both sides. But the entire map does deserve some special attention.
Yeah, that's the thing. We could be setting you up to, like, it's all about the bot lane. This is the arena. This is the Thunderdome. But Cap said it in the video, and I'm just going to echo it now. G2 don't have to play through bot lane.
G2 is the Thunderdome. Playing G2 is setting foot into the Thunderdome right now.
Whereas Misfits have shown that they can only play through that bot lane.
It's true. So far, they haven't really been able to find success much outside of that. But, you know, you talked about it already. Dracos, the bot lane bans coming out from the side of G2. Draven and Lucian already taken away. The Urgot
Kennen
going to immediately follow up. With Jace being taken off the board, I agree. I think Kennen is very strong. It's something that Soaz has played a lot so far during the regular season. Just thinking they might want to put some priority on the Ezreal. I think it's a bit of a gamble to go this early on in the draft, but over in the LCK, they love to grab it whenever they can.
It's going to be interesting. If they do opt for the Thresh early on, so both taking that pick away from Mickey, as well as locking in a bot lane support. And this is a difficult spot for Misfits to be in, drafting from blue side, because G2 on red side with counter pick is always a terrifying prospect.
But it's always a question about who they're going to give the counter pick to. Normally you would say it would be Caps, but it just feels like G2 again, because they can strike you from anywhere. That could be a counter pick to Wonder, that could be a counter pick to the jungler.
And now G2 taking their time on this first rotation. The Jarvan does get locked in.
I do like the increased priority on the Thresh. It's something that we've been seeing a lot more recently because he just seems to do so well into many of the melee supports that we have in the current meta. And I actually think that he's quite a good pick into the Jarvan as well, but they have a lot of flexibility with it. Oh, we didn't see the Yasuo ban. We should have spotted it. The Yasuo for Caps, guaranteed. Everyone will remember his MSI performance. This is something that, it's a champion that was just designed for Caps.
And Yasuo is fairly nasty on this patch. That said, I'm actually not willing to say 100% certainty that that is Caps' Yasuo.
Okay.
I've seen some bot lane Yasuos causing a lot of harm.
That's very, very true. And we don't know that this is a jungle Karthus. Jungle.
No, it's Karthus.
Jarvan.
Jungle
Could be
Jarvan.
support,
That's
could
what
be
I meant.
top.
Yes, exactly that. It has a lot of flexibility. If they felt really adventurous, they could put it mid. I don't think it's likely, but they could.
Jarvan Yasuo bot
And
lane.
the thing is that you guys are having this fun time joking, but imagine Misfits drafting against this. Where are these picks going? How much that affects your drafting decision? How important these decisions are going to be? Now they've locked in that bottom lane. They got the Shadow Isles with the Thresh, with the Kalista, the Karthus in the jungle as well. So Misfits have some strong components, but they still have no idea where any of these picks are going.
They also have a very color-coordinated draft. I'm liking a lot of this green blue
There is
texture.
a lot of green.
Triple Shadow Isles. That's what you go for. We're going to get a Yorick and a Hecarim. Calling it now.
All right, you're calling it. I'll keep your. I'm going to track you on that.
Hecarim.
But there's a lot of knockups here on the side of G2, so whoever does happen to play the Yasuo will have more than enough opportunities to be enabled to use his ultimate. And now we'll start to see some of those mid lane bans, or champions that can deal with Yasuo is rather what I should say, because we still don't know if it's going in the mid lane. Lissandra and LeBlanc are the two bans that I think we'll likely see from the side of G2.
I mean, what do you actually ban? Because like you're saying, because there's so many different options about how this G2 composition can fit together, you're just like, what champions are obnoxious that I don't want to face?
I just assume that it's Caps on Yasuo just because of how strong it is right now, and you kind of want to get to those item spikes as quickly as possible, and if you put him in mid lane, you're guaranteed more gold and you can get more experience and farm, and I just feel like it makes the most sense. And also they've seen what the Kalista and where the Kalista is going.
They knew about the Shadow Isle comp. That's what that Yorick means, Vedius. Give me credit.
Great, you earned that.
Thank you.
Now, if we see a Hecarim pick, you are the god. Where it'll go, we shall have to wait and see.
We won't see the Hecarim. But the Karma, I think, is interesting just to remind people, if you're unaware, we are on the Frostmancy hotfix, so while it could work in the bottom lane, it does not work in the solo lanes of top or mid lane, just for anyone wondering.
Also needs to be reminded that Wonder just played at top lane as AP Karma, just for
Very
funsies.
true.
That was in the Ivern comp as well. They've actually banned the Ivern away. Misfits respecting the potential for a protect the Yasuo composition. And note that the Ivern was banned because they're again assuming that it's more likely to be Wonder playing the Jarvan rather than Jankos in the jungle.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh.
Prepare yourself for the dive top is what that is saying. So as Season Elise, we assume it's a Jarvan jungle. You have massive AP damage, massive AD damage, huge dive potential between Jarvan and Elise. So Soaz needs to pick something that can survive that.
Now,
Does anything survive Jarvan Elise level 3 rotation? That would be my question.
oh no.
Well, if
I mean, if everything lands, you'll die. without a shadow of a doubt. But I'm just really happy to see Jankos back in Elise. This used to be one of his legendary picks back when he was known as the First Blood King. He was like ganking left, right, and center, and against a Karthus, he sees a prime opportunity here to make some great early game plays.
But the nice thing is that Soa sees it, he grabs the Scion. Yes, that can still technically be flexed towards the mid lane, but I assume that Ryze will also be locked in. And Soaz is saying, okay, I see your Jarvan in your Elise, dive me, I dare you.
Is it going to work out, though? The passive on Scion could just ruin tower dives for anyone who wants to go for it. Now, of course, have to see what the final pick is going to be locked in here. Ryze headed to the mid lane, most likely Scion to the top lane, as at least is predicted for now. We'll see how both teams want to flex. G2 taking their time on this final pick. It's going to change the entirety of the draft, depending on what is chosen here. Could just be an 80 carry. We'll ruin
Really, all we care about is Yasuo.
Oh! This is the solo queue dream team from last patch, because Aurelia definitely got hit pretty hard. Now, if I remember correctly, Sheffius threw her in the dumpster, Caps pulling her back out, and now we get to play the game called when 20 seconds is left on the clock, we will know what the lane assignments are, and sadly for Misfits, they have to play that game too.
Normally, we do think that it's the Yasuo that goes into the 80 carry position, or excuse me, the bot position, just because of how his wind wall can affect a lot of marksman damage output and how easy it is for him to walk them down, although he didn't swap.
You don't have the timer on your screen, but we do have 6, 5, 4.
There we go.
Is swapping through, and time is up now. They can no longer swap. That is Aurelia in the mid lane up against the Ryze. Perks Yasuo in the bottom lane. He's been playing 80 carries. Some of us may have forgotten about his tendencies and his history as a mid laner, but Yasuo bot lane, of course, a true terror, and even stronger now on this patch.
Just look at all of the assassins and how many melee punches that you have. That's the one concern that I have about this G2 composition is outside Elise, every single one of these champions is melee, and you are still against a Scion, a Karthus, a Ryze, a Kalista. It's actually really hard to get those champions through the wall of pain, the root from Ryze, the tankiness of Scion.
You also have a Flay from Thresh, which is very clutch in those situations to keep the Yasuo away, to keep the Aurelia away, to interrupt those jumps and those resets, and we could see. I mean, it's a lot of pressure onto Gorilla, onto Misfits to stop G2 from just running over them in these fights. But I also feel like if we take the nameplates off, G2 are playing a very difficult composition.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really excited to see how this one plays out, Misfits versus G2. They've actually had a pretty long-standing rivalry ever since Misfits joined the league in 2017. And things are only going to get more exciting as we end our final game of the first half of the LEC Spring Split.
G2 Esports versus Misfits Gaming. Will G2 find the 9-0? First half of the split completely undefeated, well on the road to the perfect split, or will Misfits stop them here? That is what we're going to find out, folks.
And the irony is, it was Misfits who were in this position last split. They were the ones securing the 9-0, moving on to an 11-0, or 10-0 rather, before their downfall began. So it could be Misfits to stop the win streak, or it could be Misfits to continue it.
And frankly, this is also the Euphoria bet. This is the moment, Dracos. If Wonder wins here, he's 9-0, and we have to give an apology.
I do feel like if we have to mention bet, now is the time before we get into the seriousness of the game. Yes, we do have to apologize formally to Wonder if he wins this. So Misfits, I know I said rude things about you in the rap video, but it might be good if you won this one.
So, in terms of compositions, I think Misfits have a very standard front-to-back style comp. I think their team fighting is really good. You're kind of looking at very much the 3-item threshold for this Misfits squad, largely because of the Kalista. When she has Rage Blade, Blade of the Ruin King, and Runan's Hurricane finish, she is a terror. And when you look at all the squishy members on the side of G2, that has a lot of like AoE damage output that she's able to put in these fights, and you pair that up with the Karthus, there's just a lot of damage. They have really good objective control as well because of how fast it is.
Skittles and Rend.
Exactly. So like this Misfits comp is very much about, they have a strong mid game, they are really strong once they hit the item points, and that's when they'll try and look to utilize this composition.
I mean, you talk about a strong mid game, but I also think if you look at G2's composition, this mid game power spike after 2 items on most of these champions is absolutely terrifying. And while there are a lot of tools for Misfits to fight front to back, we talked about that Wall of Pain, the Thresh Lantern, the fact that Kalista is so highly mobile as an ADC, that's still a Yasuo and an Aurelia and an Elise and a Jarvan. There's just as many tools on G2's comp to get to that backline and rip Han Sama apart.
And the bad news is, Yasuo, a lot stronger on this patch. His itemization with the static shift very good. He can also go for the Phantom Dance for a more defensive option. Things are good for Yasuo players right now. Bad news is the Aurelia in the mid lane no longer reduces magic damage with the Defiant Dance, so in theory, Febiven may have a much easier laning phase in this patch than he would have in the past.
I thought that was going to be like a good news. Yasuo very strong this patch. Bad news, you're going to see him a lot in your solo queue games.
That's also bad news, but we have a big fat ban button for those ones.
I see him so much in solo. Unfortunately, knocked him in as a primary counter. Anyway, looking at how the laning phase is shaping up, we've got to keep our eyes on Jankos as well. Already level 3 and looking for a mid lane gank. Febiven has set up the push, former teammates going at it.
Moving forward, going to try to look to set up the stun here. Gets the immediate respect flash from Febiven. He's not taking any risk, but Caps now in a great position to try to just sit here and soak up all this XP.
I just want to take a second to appreciate how clutch that E from Jankos was in between the two minion waves. That was going to hit Febiven, and he had to flash there, otherwise he would have lost his life. So really good stuff there. Nice to see that Jankos hasn't lost his Elise mechanic.
But here comes this dive. We were talking about it. Soaz knew it was going to come. He had the option to pick anything. He has the Scion. See if he can survive.
Season 3 all over again. Soaz is getting flashbacks. Oh, Trauma comes out. Not sure if he's going to be able to get it. Goes right back in the air. Trade turret aggro. Soaz so incredibly low, but they're going to try to turn it back. First blood to Jankos. You just cannot stop this Elise from diving people.
It is just so devastating. We've seen it globally more so on the Renekton, but meanwhile mid.
Caps dashing out to safety. Wall of Pain. Where's it going to go? Does he even have it skilled at this point? We'll just focus on clearing the wave instead. The Flay going to knock him back, but now Perks is getting aggressive onto Gorilla. The exhaust has come out, but the Ignite is ticking as well. We're looking for that third stack on the Q. Throws it out. Perks leaping right back onto safety, but the Rend is available as well. Hansama, Mickey now. Pulled back, could be caught out here. Are they going to go down? Mickey now knocking Hansama back. That is a brutal turn. Gorilla needs to get him out to safety. They're burning him down. The Flay comes out. This is on the edge. Who is going to get Hansama with the first kill? Person now running for his life. The powered Botto is there. He's going to get the knockup. One traded back. Now he's on the hunt for Gorilla. If he can get one more here, this could decide everything in the early bot lane, but Gorilla is going to flash to safety.
Oh, disaster. The fact that Hansama held the heal for so long, though, to bait G2 to try and trade 1-for-1, but in the end, I believe it's Misfits who expend all of their summoner spells, whereas on the other side, Perks and Mickey still have access to Flash.
And the reality is Perks is still sitting here farming. He was the one that walks away with his life. So while it's all well and good that Hansama gets himself a kill, Perks is more than happy in terms of how that trade played out.
And this is exactly how Perks and Mickey like to play lanes. They are so incredibly aggressive. They kill a lot of people, and they also, to be fair, die a certain amount. You can see kills at 15, Perks 1. Deaths also 1. This man loves to fight, and that engage was the quintessential example of that.
And it's not just Perks, it's also Mickey. These guys live on the edge.
They certainly do. They love to trade, and they love to look for these fights in the early game, and so far, things have worked out nicely for them. So we've got an aggression top side of the map from G2, we've got aggression bot side, and let's take a look back at how this replay played out. The hook initially lands onto Gorilla, which means, Mickey rather, which means Perks immediately goes onto Hansama. Hansama spaces in a way that doesn't allow Perks to get on top of him, and a good sidestep here from Hansama to dodge out on the tornado, and at this point you think G2's going to disengage, but Misfits, they're not done quite yet.
And the fact that this fight goes so long that both Gorilla and Mickey get double access to a death sentence, as well as the stun from Alistar. Now, there was the heal bait from Hansama. He gets pushed out of position by Mickey, has the heal though, trades 1-for-1, but like you said, at the end of the day, one marksman remained in the bot lane and one didn't.
Perks not going for the all-in. Jankos going to get the immediate follow-up CC, but Perks is taking a lot of tower damage back. Caps rather in the mid lane. Jankos going to take him out immediately. The Elise dive comes through yet again. G2 with another kill.
Jankos' early game on this Elise has been nothing but impressive so far. You know, we talked a lot about the bot lane, but this man in the jungle, he's shown a lot throughout this split. He's now on a very aggressive early game jungle pick, and he has found 3 successful ganks so far this game.
And this is classic G2, where its top, mid, and bot are now all winning. And Misfits, they are the early game team next to G2. They were supposed to put up a fight against this.
But they drafted themselves the Karthus, and it's really important to remember that they won't be able to match the power of Elise in the early game. They've just got to weather this storm as much as possible, and right now that's the big battle between these two teams. Can Maxwell get to a point where his Karthus can just press R and he wins his team fights, or will G2 be able to snowball through the massive leads that Jankos is getting in the jungle to the point at which Misfits won't be able to come back?
It's difficult now with Caps finding that assist there in the mid lane, the Sheen coming through as well, so the burst damage threat just continues to grow. Bev doing his best to play this lane patiently, but the stun, the hitbox there on the Flawless Duet, still huge, still difficult for the Rise to survive in this lane phase.
I think we have the possibility of a dive being set up. I think a big wave is about to push in.
Keeping our eyes on the bottom side of the map. Mickey ready. Perks with the level 6. He's going to immediately fall off the chains. He once again is clutch. Perfect. Gorilla can get nothing back, and Mickey just going to walk out from that one. Perfect execution from G2.
And it's just terrifying how quickly they turned that on. You could tell that Misfits had no idea what just hit them there.
And Jankos, he passed through the river. Perk's not quite done yet, but a good play there from Gorilla.
As the tornado is not going to follow up anymore, but will force Gorilla back and interrupt some of that back timing. And it's incredible to me how many times the Cocoon, combined with whatever CC is coming in from the laners, is just perfectly timed. It's the Flawless Duet into the Cocoon. It is the knock-up into the Yasuo ult into the Cocoon. And it just seems like they have been playing so much WoW Arena that their CC layering is just flawless.
And it's now starting to bleed over into Maxlor's jungle. We talked about how important that Karthus is. He's the late game insurance policy, and now he is suffering because his laners have collapsed around him.
And I love the way in which G2 are playing around their spikes as well, because early on it was like, okay, Wonder is stronger at these early few levels. Let's set up the dive at like the level 3 mark, they get the kill. Let's try and force Ryze to burn his flash early so Caps can play aggressive during the laning phase. The moment he hits level 6, oh, who's there? Elise. Perfectly on time. Bot lane, Perks, hits level 6. Who's there? Elise, just on time again. And I can't help but praise how Jankos has just been in the right place at the right time across the entire board.
And the thing is in these Karthus games, and oftentimes in the Olaf games as well, we don't really get to see Jankos show his hand as an early game pathing jungler. It doesn't happen as much. He's often much more about the farming. But in this game, he has been going insane. And you talked about it, the First Blood King. And this is really a return to that kind of Jankos.
I mean, frankly, he hasn't needed to when all of his lanes just automatically win. He can play a farming jungler like the Karthus that he's done in the path and just farm them up towards the late game. But this time around, they're showing almost the true form of G2 when Jankos is on point, as well as all of the G2 solo laners.
In a difficult position to be in now as well. Perks is going to clear out a bit more vision. You have the Tiamat and the Sheen, a lot of way clear in the mid lane for Caps. You have the early jungle enchant coming out for Jankos. All 3 of those kills in his back pocket. A lot of resources in the Elise, and Perks as well, working towards that first item. It's going to be a big break point for the Yasuo, of course. Crit scaling on Yasuo, pretty gross. Attack speed also is cooldown reduction for his Q. So very, very good first item.
Round 2.
Oh no, Jankos. Come on, can you just calm down for a second? The fact that he's even beating Maxlor in farm as well is just goes to show how much of a good game he has. They're even aware of where Maxlor is in their own jungle right now. The pings have come down. Jankos setting up a trap as Wonder is going for the 1v1 top.
This Elise will one-shot him if they find each other in the jungle. The 1v1 top is exciting, most certainly, but this game of chicken in the jungle is exciting to watch as well. Maxlor playing with fire here as he moves in.
So we haven't even had an opportunity to take stock of the goal difference. 2.5k already, 10 minutes into the game. G2 have had full control over this early game. They drafted a lot of attack damage, and it's their AP damage, the one source they have that's getting extremely fed right now as they look for another play in bot.
The play is huge. They move forward. Mickey going to find the knockup. They're trying to keep the CC together. They are just going to back off. One wall's there to deny some of the damage. The knockup still connects, and they're just going to walk away. Did not want to commit anymore.
The fact that Perks is holding on to his ultimate, so despite the fact that he had many opportunities to pop it there, I think they're actually taking stock of the fact that Maxlor has access to Requiem. Don't want to dive too deep.
True, it's very, very true, and Jankos continuing to invade. He has pressure mid, he has pressure top, he needs to be careful though. But has the blast going to just get to safety? So they're already setting up a lot of vision towards the top side. But this could indicate that right now they're looking for a Rift Herald play within the next couple of minutes. But for the time being, they just want to steal more and more Caps away from Maxlor as they go for another
comes out. Double connect means Caps can dip dive his way through the team. CC is not going to connect. First one to miss from Jankos this game. Goes up, comes down onto the camp, and is going to walk away. Fevivan now trying to turn this back, but not a lot of mana in the pool. We'll have to back off, but a rare fumble there for the G2 lineup.
But Jankos getting what he wants. He's trying to steal away these camps. He doesn't have the smite up, but it doesn't matter because Maxlor can't get anything. And this is putting Maxlor even further behind, and it's better snowballing G2 in this early game.
And it's also isolating the lanes. The more that Jankos can keep Maxlor away from scaling up into the late game, but also impacting any of these lanes, his laners are winning on their own. He just needs to keep Maxlor busy.
And now we see the Mountain Drake going to fall as well, so one of these advantages moving over. More threat onto the Baron to match what the Karthus and the Kalista are going to try to put out on the side of Misfits, but already we see G2 so incredibly far ahead. 3k gold lead, 4-1 the kill score, and no towers have fallen yet, but a lot of turret plating already in the favor of G2. And start talking to me about outs. What are we looking at for Misfits here? How do they get themselves back to this game? How do they make up for this massive gold difference?
Well, their options are still very much around those item spikes that we talked a lot about. The thing for Ryze is once he's got his tier fully stacked and once he's completed his second item, then he's in a better position to be able to duel champions like the Aurelia and the Jarvan. And on top of that, you've got to remember that Kalista is very much... She's at her strongest when she has Blade of the Ruin King and she has the Rage Blade. That's when she really outputs a lot of damage. The problem is, Yasuo is really strong when he has Static Shiv and Infinity Edge, and at the rate that they're going, he's going to get to that point much earlier than Hansan is going to get to his 2 spikes.
And now it's going to be harder to control the wave as well because he does have access to the Static Shiv, which makes his wave clear even that much more oppressive.
Yeah, and as you can see already, he's in a 1v2 right now. He's just forcing them back, but they also have that awareness. Okay, there's an Alistar and there's an Elise coming in through the river. We've got to back away. This is more turret plating gold going into the back pocket of Perks.
So many early turrets going down.
Mickey's not even approaching the tower. He says, Perks, you can have all of this gold. Let's get you to that Infinity Edge. Let's get you that massive spike where you get 100% crit chance.
And frankly, I think that Misfits are really late on making this play. You can see that they're starting to rotate Thresh and Kalista up towards the Rift Herald while it's already been started by Karthus. They should have just sacked this bottom lane immediately and rotated up to it faster.
Yeah, I think they could have swapped the lanes, then, you know, just traded objectives. At the very least, you could have then gotten Hansama and Gorilla some turret planing up towards the top side of the map. Regardless, they've now made the play, they've made the swap happen, and already Mickey is on his way. You got to respect that that Jarvan Alistar combo as well. That's no slouch, especially against a very weakened Hansama. And look, Wonder already lying in wait. He's by himself.
They're expecting the swap. Mickey currently hidden. Has the flash available. He's going to move forward. The flash. Great taxi there to bring it in. Oh, Hansama isn't even going to push a button.
The perfect CC chain there. Mickey using the flash, hitting the pulverize into the flag and drag, into the Jarvan ult. The fact that Hansama had flash and heal and just exploded.
Yeah. And we thought maybe there would be some contention here in this early game. Obviously, any game is a G2 favored game right now. They are, no doubt in our mind, the strongest team in the LEC, but Misfits are just absolutely getting smashed.
I mean, so one of the things for me that I think was very evident so far in this game is that G2 expected the Kalista to come through. They probably weren't expecting to get Yasuo, but they clearly had a game plan in mind, which is Hansama, when he doesn't have Lucian and Draven, will go Kalista. And Mickey, as his former support, has even said there are champ pool issues, and right now they're just looking to continuously punish it. And so far this game, they've done a fantastic job of it.
They're just going to walk away here. Knowing when to go in and when to go out, you kind of expect G2 to always go for those aggressive plays, but they do decide to back off, not looking to give anything up here. So despite the massive lead, still willing to play this one slow and systematically. Wonder extending the trade here up against Soaz, still a very tanky Scion. Wonder, of course, with the Black Leader means the longer he stays in the fight, the better it is. And of course, Caps could come down if he wants to. For now, Wonder just standing in front of the Scion, know where he's positioning. He just wants to block the ulti escape for Soaz. Elise coming down as well as Soaz moves up. The ulti finally going to come out. Cannot be displaced. Such a close escape from Soaz. If Jarvan had hit him, he would have died.
Great positioning from Wonder, like you said, trying to walk that one down, but Soaz does manage to get out, and his flash just off of cooldown will now be much safer as he wants to extend into those lanes.
Max still tried to set up a gank in mid, but Caps was able to avoid that without burning any summoner spells. Yanka's now making his way mid lane as well. Remember that the risk of a dive is very real against this Elise, and now they just have free access to the tower.
Gorilla's here. That stun connects. No, not going to go for the fall. Cocoon does land, but no immediate follow-up damage. Spider just going to poke at the shield, and Perks left uncontested on a side lane. Not just an AD carry in this game, but also a side laner as well. Yasuo at this stage of the game, very obnoxious to play against.
And
Mickey?
this... oh, got him.
Flay comes out. No X flash for you.
This felt like a race top lane. Gorilla and Mickey both like trying to get up to that top lane to see who was going to get the dive or the counter dive first.
Caps focusing on the tower here. Cocoon. Connect. Is going to move there, and now they're going to try to throw it in. Misfits looking for their chance to turn the play around, but Mickey's here for the disengage. Flat forward, the play does connect, predicts the flash. It's beautiful from Gorilla, and the shutdown goes to the Thresh.
And so finally, Misfits get themselves a kill, and now the group up.
Denied! Gorilla again, clutch right where his team needs it. Mickey sees the opportunity, but it is turned against him. Perfectly played by the Thresh in the last 2 seconds.
Yeah, Gorilla's performing this game around. Had some rough games earlier on, but looking phenomenal so far on 2 back-to-back massive Flay plays, and suddenly Misfits have tempo in this game.
It only needs 1 play for Misfits to get their foot back in the door, but remember, they're still at a 6k gold deficit after securing their first tower of the game. So while the play was good, they were able to get some gold back in their pockets. They got a shutdown onto Caps. they definitely still have a long road to climb.
And the awkward thing is the shutdown goes to Gorilla, but I think you just have to appreciate the way this plays out.
So this was just Caps overcommitting for this tower. I think they should have been a little bit more patient, because as a result, they now overextend. They don't respect the flash, and even though he flashes away, he flashes in a straight line. Gorilla's able to land the hook, and then he gets the follow-up. Now, Mickey just wants to interrupt this Rift Herald, and if he's able to do it, then they can stop them in siege, but unfortunately, he couldn't get there in time. Really good play from Gorilla. Ends up with Misfits securing another kill.
The only way that could have gone better is if the gold bounty didn't end up in Thrash's pocket.
Hansama now needs to run. The Lantern is there, though, to take him out. But as you said, signs of life in the Misfits camp. Still at a massive gold deficit here, but it's good news overall. Sadly, G2 do grab another Mountain Drake. That is 2-0 on the side of the Misfits.
We're not even 18 minutes into, or we're just about to hit 18 minutes. That's a Infinity Edge, Static Shiv, Yasuo.
It's a big problem.
That is so bad. Like, that is so much gold. Actually, he has so much more gold than Hansama right now. 2.6k more total gold. It's actually ridiculous how strong Perks is on this champion right now.
And with Conqueror, I don't think anyone can even touch him in a side lane.
Ryze is the closest you can get, but at this point in the game, especially not.
Wonder, though, going to do what he can to hold on.
Oh, well, your jungle isn't your jungle anymore.
Just praised Gorilla. They didn't want to show him dying, you know? Now, G2 are just going to take another tower, and interesting to see just how quickly G2 can find those picks and set themselves up for success here. Perks now roaming up, could run into Max Lord. This would be terrible. Goodbye.
Oh, no.
Crit dead.
Reminder, ban this champion. Perks is very good, that's why he got this lead, but this will happen to you in solo queue too.
And the unfortunate reality is that Misfits just don't have anything coming in anytime soon to deal with this snowball that G2 have created. At this point, they're like, just clear out our own jungle, try to find some safe farm lanes to farm, but hold on for this possible Baron in 51 seconds and pray.
Hansama is level 10, Perks is level 13. He's been given so much solo farm and gold that he's so strong at this point. And Gorilla, he's just trying to clear up vision. He thinks he's fine, but no, he's not. He's really not.
This is like, if Misfits are the Karate Kid, then these guys are like the world champions of karate. Like there is no hope in this underdog story anymore. Like, this is brutal. This is so hard to watch because Perks can easily 2v1 the vast majority of the Misfits team, and it feels like it's going to take some miracle plays like that hook in the mid lane from Gorilla if Misfits want to get back in.
And that's what's so terrifying about G2. It's the fact that they make our top teams look so far separated from them.
Yep. And it's funny because like when I talk about Schalke, they remind me a lot of Fnatic from last year, and I mean that Fnatic made it to the World Final. So I think we do have strong teams in Europe, but like G2 just seem to elevate it. And you know, they talk a lot about, I mean, they said in the Match of the Week video, we want to be what SKT were back in the day, and we want to elevate Europe to a new level. And it honestly does feel like that they've taken one of, if not the best player in each position, and they've put them all onto a single team. And they found synergy through fun. Like, how strange is that?
The power of friendship.
But like, you know, you joke about it.
That's the most anime thing you have ever said.
But you listen to them, and all they ever say is, it is just so much fun to play with this team. They all get on so extremely well, and like the fact that they play rock, paper, scissors to determine who gets blue buff, do you know what I mean? Right?
I haven't heard the power of fun and friendship since I played T-ball. I was 6, Vedius. Apparently it's real. Coach was right. All right, good to know. And G2, I mean, I want to knock it, but you're so right, Betty. It's like, they look good, and you saw them at the start of this game. They're serious now that they're in game, but every second up until game time, they're just having a good time.
Wait, he has a GA now? But he just...
He can't die, Betty. He can't die.
Yankos, Chilling Smite is going to try to walk away here. Flash over the wall, Soaz trying to follow up.
He's going to fly in. He's going to murder a bunch of people.
How does he have so much gold? I mean, I know he got a lot of turret plates, but that's just ridiculous.
He has 253 farm. It's 21 minutes.
Oh, the Uzi effect, I forgot.
He's 40 above the clock.
I think he got 5 of 5 tower plates, and at least 3 of them he got solo. Funneling is not dead. It's alive, and it lives in the heart of Perks right at this moment. 3 items. First tower kill as well. Production on my side on this one, reminding me of that one. Thank you for that. And
so now they're setting up for the Baron, and I mean, Yasuo's pretty quick at taking Baron. No, they won't just start it right now. Good. Because that is one way in which Misfits can potentially come back. But
they want to lure them, Vedius. They want to make a trap.
Yeah, they have control over the river. Very patient play. Maxwell's like, they might be doing Baron. And then Mickey's like, we could be. Why don't you come check?
Gorilla's having flashbacks. He's like, guys, every time I walk into the dark, I die. Please don't make me do this.
Oh, God. Caps threatening.
Save him!
He has
Knock up
Hunt Summer there to drag him out if he needs to.
Holding off. They're now moving into this funnel. Maybe Maxwell can get some work done. Use the wind wall. That's a major cooldown, but G2 are just going to back off. Misfits, no way to really follow up on that one. And
You know what play-by-play is getting desperate? They go, oh, that's a major cooldown. Gone. That's unavailable now. And Misfits is just like, yeah, no.
Especially when it's wind wall into Corpus.
honestly, I'm playing G2 roulette right now.
Yeah.
I'm just spinning through ways they could possibly lose the game and hoping that one of them lines up so we get a closer game. This isn't just another commanding G2 victory, but it looks like it could just be that.
On good news, though, Misfits have survived the onslaught from G2. They moved into that river and they cleared out a lot of that vision.
Wait, hang on, he didn't go Rageblade second. Hunt Summer actually has Runeance. Okay, so he gets a little bit more wave clear, I suppose, which is fine. But when that Rageblade really comes in and you can get the double procs with the Rageblade passive thing, but then you also have lethal tempo as well, so you just get loads of Ren stacks in, and that's when he's really strong.
Okay, hold on.
Mickey is one-man zoning
Support or combat.
Not for very long. Luckily, Kalista is there to save the day, and it does let the Baron regenerate. Rise is on the bottom side of the map. Fev been desperately trying to recoup some farm, of course, does have the TP available, but G2 just taking their time on this one.
I'm curious if G2 are eventually going to get bored of this song and dance around the Baron, because they could just throw this Yasuo out into a side lane. And as Venius was saying earlier, no one can deal with him at this point. You know, G2 don't have to hard funnel into this Baron to make things happen. It makes it easier because it is a 5 melee composition, so it is a bit harder to siege in.
It's true. Yeah, I actually think there's a good point there for us, because they might be a little reliant on the Baron to actually break into the base. Yeah, because I mean they could go for a dive, right? I feel that when you have an Alistar,
and a Yasuo,
you can just dive, right? But G2 clearly playing it safe, showing at least some respect to Misfits at this point in the game. But Yasuo now level 15. The experience gap only continues to build. We will keep our eyes on the Karthus, who hasn't yet completed a major item after his jungle item. But like that, I mean, that's all I've got for us. That's like...
He's like, Yasuo is almost 16. He's going to have 3 points of the ultimate. He's now got a Hex Trigger to his name.
Karthus hit level 11 and has double magic pen items.
That's what we want.
That is true. Round 1.
Run!
Febiven, no! Knocked out. The minion blocks the stun, though. He's a homie. Febiven's running for his life. It's not enough!
Wait, but there's 2 people down on the bot side. Now Misfits trying to make the play top.
Follow up. Cap's now running. They've used Mickey as the sacrificial cow. He's going to try to retreat and does get taken down.
Go Baron. Do it.
Just do it with the Rend.
You have Karthus, you have Kalista, you have Silence Tank.
2 people are bot side.
Yeah, I actually think they should have tried to force something there, because, oh no.
Flash out. Hook not going to connect. And I'm going to be honest, if you are not confident enough to 2v4 the Aurelia Yasuo, things are looking bad. Perkz now potentially in trouble. Windwall comes out to stop any follow-up on that angle. Perkz now pulled back. Knockup is there as well, but they just cannot kill him. They're just going to kill everybody. G2 just going to follow up. Maxwell are going to get deleted instantly. That's the Elise burst. Folks, I don't know what to tell you.
This is why I'm saying they should have tried the 2v4, because when the other 2 members come in, you're not going to be able to survive that.
Did you just see how much damage 2 of their members did?
I mean, Perkz, in his defense, Perkz missed everything. His windwall went the wrong way. He flashed into a Scion Q, and then he landed a single Q, which enabled him to land the ultimate, and then Cats could get the stun, and then they get the follow-up.
I don't know. I agree. Maybe you go for the Baron, because at this point, you're just watching yourself lose the game, but I can understand why they were scared.
I mean, for sure.
Honestly, beating someone this badly is like probably a reportable offense. This is...
So look, Perkz, he misses the wind wall, it goes the wrong way, he then flashes into a Q to get knocked up, but because he's able to land the knockup and Caps is right behind him and the TP comes in from Wonder as well, he's like, well, let's go, I have GA. What's wrong with this? My passive is reset as well, so...
The fact that Jankos can 100-0 someone in the duration of his cocoon is disgusting.
But yeah, he's level
AP.
14 Elise.
AP Elise, with his hourglass and his needlessly large rod.
It's really upsetting though, because my Elise games never go like this.
That's what you're upset about?
Yeah, you either win, you either get that first gank and you feel like a god, or you spend the rest of the game doing no damage. Oh, it's brutal.
That's why good Elise players are always really impressive to me, and Jankos certainly is a good Elise player.
It is dead. And G2, this is just a G2 game, folks. I don't know what to tell you. They are so good at League of Legends. They are so untouchable at the top, and we are waiting to see if there's a challenger worthy. And today, Misfits are not looking very worthy. They are getting smacked. Caps, they're going to try to put a lot of resources into it, but meanwhile, they're just going to lose the base. That is a Baron-empowered Elise and a Jarvan. That's a lot of attack speed steroids. Perks in the mid lane. They just want to kill Caps. They just want to get something, but they're going to lose the game just to try to kill this Aurelia.
Consolation prize.
And that's really all you can say, ladies and gentlemen. G2 grouping in mid lane. Going to make this one last just a little bit longer. We'll see if they give us another show, if they want to go for another team fight.
I want to see the big Wombo combo at least once. I want to see the Alistar, the Jarvan, the Yasuo all just fly in on like a single target.
Ooh, we see a dive.
So as well played, makes it up to safety. Sadly, the tower is still going to die.
Perks still in the enemy base, says, guys, we can end.
Trying to kill solo kill Febiven here. Now goes in. Aftershock is there, buys Febiven a little bit of time, but the knockup now comes out. Perk's now going to throw the Hurricane back, not going to connect anybody for the knockup there, but the
penta.
double.
He wants
He's going in. He's never had a pentakill as an 80 carry. He wants to get one. He wants to match Reckless. He's going to get another. They're not going to give it to him, though.
That's a triple.
That's
No,
the
they're going to try and give it to him.
They're grouping. Oh. Going for it. So as very low and very far from the base. There's no. I'm sorry, Vegas. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, there's not a lot to say, but that G2 remain undefeated in their first half of the split. No doubt in my mind, the most dominant start any team has had in Europe.
And I know that it's only week 5. We're about to come on to the second half of round robin as we now owe an apology to Wonder. They have gone 9-0. But at some point, we need to start backing up and looking at the bigger picture because this G2 is full steam ahead towards an international appearance.
They're actually ridiculous. They just dismantled Misfits. And like Perks continues to prove himself as a top bot laner in Europe, and like it's not just about his ability to play AD carries, it's the versatility that he brings. Like so many people said it's one thing to move from mid lane to bot lane and be able to keep up with the best bot laners in Europe, but on top of that, how can the best bot laners keep up with who was the second best mid laner, and he's now bringing his mid lane talents down to the bot lane on champions like Yasuo. Like he has so many options available to him, and he is flexing all over AD carries in Europe.
It's wild. And a lot of people were upset when Perks was coming in near the top of that 80 carry ranking. And now I think a lot of people are wondering if he's #1. That is the question. Of course, they're playing up against Schalke. Of course, the first Schalke game was very G2 favored. Maybe Schalke are a team that can fight back.
Maybe.
Vitality have already been obliterated by this lineup. Are Schalke just the next on a long menu of teams to be defeated by G2? Or will someone finally contest this lineup?
And now I think Misfits sit at a 4-5 scoreline. I think that's right. Which means that they're moving down in the standings quite quickly. I think they actually sit below Origin now as well. And what looked like a really promising start for Misfits has not ended the first half of the split the way they ideally would have liked. And it's one of those really interesting things where we think about our expectations of them coming into the split. Many people were mixed. Some people thought that they would just come in, steamroll everyone, just like G2 have. Others thought that I was one of the people that thought they would get better throughout the split. But so far, they've started off strong, and they've just slowly started to taper off. And against the teams that sit above them, they haven't really been able to offer that much of a challenge, because I think we're just seeing more and more the limited AD carry pool that Hans Sama has.
And it felt like the game plan here between having like the Thresh and the Kalista, the Ryze and the Scion was to just survive. You have like this Karthus pick.
Yeah,
you want to get to a point when the Karthus is actually viable, but showcasing that even one of our top teams just simply can't survive the laning phase across from G2.
Yeah.
And Yanko's not afraid to invade that jungle and shut down the Karthus as necessary. Well, for our match of the week, Yanko's, Perks, and Wonder are your options for Kia player
Vote
of
for
the game.
Yankos. If you guys vote for Perks, I'm going to be really... He had a great game.
He
His Yasuo was
threaded the
good.
cocoon.
But come on. Yankos, he's 7-0-3. He had a fantastic Elise game. It was like the return of the old Yankos. You know, that First Blood King guy.
Okay, so his positioning was flawless, but I do want to note that most of those cocoons, the target was already CC'd, except for that one that you highlighted
He
in mid
ganked
lane.
every single lane, Dracos.
It's insane, I know, but
It was a great Elise performance.
this man played Yasuo AD carry and Sama. This is like a really hard call. This is like the biggest struggle G2 have, is like who gets player of the game.
Mickey, give it to Mickey.
The only time G2 are ever contesting the MVP award.
You know, it's funny because Perks actually tweeted out today, my only competition is caps. And right now it feels like that in the MVP leaderboard, that's his primary competition that he's trying to take down.
And self-made. Well, we'll get some more insight on G2's win as Lore is standing by with Perks.
Thank you very much, Dracos, and thank you, Perks, for joining me. I mean, you brought Yasuo on the bot lane. Can you talk me through the pick, especially against Kalista?
Well, I was actually just gonna. I was planning on being an Ezreal one trick and just keep playing Ezreal, but they first picked Thresh, which just kind of like threw us off, and then we just decided to go for something more aggressive. And yeah, Chaos wanted to really be the first one who plays Yasuo, but I like that I got to play it first, so I could show off my Yasuo skills.
Nice one. And do you think the new patch will influence your playstyle and maybe your creativity in the game, as we see more crit AD carries right now?
I think the patch is pretty much same. Just there's like crit AD carries are more viable. That's why we can be seeing some severe Jinx, Caitlyn like we have so far, and they can just be played, but it's not like they're OP or something. So. Yeah, and I actually really enjoy playing crit ADs. I want to show my Seaver in LCS. Maybe I'll play it tomorrow.
Which one is your
LEC.
best? Which one is your best crit AD carry?
My best crit AD? I think my Tristana is actually my best crit AD right now.
Oh.
I want to play Tristana against Reckless.
Looking forward to see this one. And what do you think about the patch? Because you were saying that it's not going to change that much. People seem to say the contrary. So what do you think about the patch right now, the new one?
Well, yeah, I think it's the same. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to stay the same? Well,
Yeah.
hopefully for you guys, because you're stomping everybody. Basically, we're halfway through the split already. How would you rank yourself among AD carries right now?
Well, I actually still identify myself as a mid laner. Like, I'm a mid laner in my heart. I need
Don't
to
listen
know,
to these caps.
I need to know where I came from, and one day I'm gonna be there again and play mid. But as for AD carries, I don't think I really got challenged so far. So I would like some more challenge, yeah.
More challenge, right. And which team can challenge you right now? Because, okay, you're unbeatable, yes, but which team can challenge you the most as we go into the second round robin tomorrow?
I think Origin actually looks really good. Like the last 2 or 3 games they played, they look really, really good. So I'm looking forward to playing against Origin again tomorrow, against Mitty and Patrick. They actually been playing really well together, I think, the last couple of games. So that should be fun, playing against Mitty again. I love playing against Mitty. Yeah.
And I hope you will have the challenge you're looking for. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And good luck on tomorrow. Now, to wrap up the day, we're going to send it back to the studio and Trevor.